here with Owen Caissie, who is putting together another really strong season now at the AAA level. We're right about the halfway mark of the year. How would you say it's going for you so far, and how have you been feeling?
It's been good, There's been a lot of adjustments this year compared to AA. I feel like the pitchers are a lot smarter here. And adjusting to, the automatic strike zone and the challenge calls is pretty cool. But it's been good so far. I'm learning a lot about myself and just, how to cope with things and how to, really play with the game and, the game within the game.
You already kind of led me right into one of the other questions I was going to ask, because I think one of the most impressive things about what you've done at each stop, on top of the numbers, is that you've been one of the youngest guys at each stop, but now you get to AAA.
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest age gap that you've had, but at the same time, you also have more experience than you've ever had. Mm-hmm. So would you say this has been the biggest leap for you, just from the game within the game standpoint, in terms of just making that adjustment?
Personally, yeah. This is definitely the biggest leap. I was telling my roommate, BJ Murray, about that. Yesterday, he's like, yeah, I feel like this is the biggest leap for me, because you really have to play with the game. Like I said before, these pitchers are smarter here. They're not 22 years old. Some of the guys are 30 plus years old. They've been around a long time, big leaguers and everything like that. So it's really just focusing on what I want to do and not letting them deviate myself from my plan. But that's definitely the biggest jump this year, is from, in my opinion, is from AA, AAA, just because of how, honestly, how veteran the league is.
Well, what's interesting, too, though, is it's not like you had very easy circumstances in the Southern League, given the way they kind of treated you like guinea pigs with the baseballs.
Yeah.
And something that stood out to me, and it was league-wide, but of course people are going to look at it more specifically with the top prospects. And, with you, it's always been proven that, okay, I can crush home runs, but also that you're going to hit. And you've hit for average everywhere, but everyone, is always going to try to find the one thing.
Yeah.
The second the tack balls were out of circulation, the strikeout rate went totally downwards. Yeah. Was that you getting acclimated to the level, or was that the balls being out of circulation, or do you think a little bit of both? And I'll follow up after you answer that with just what the balls were like, but I just want to start with you. Would you feel like it was more of you adjusting to AA? Because that's also a big leap, too, from high A. Or was it the balls also kind of getting out of circulation there? Because there were some silly numbers.
I think it's both, really, because, I didn't really think the balls near, the midway mark of the season with the sticky balls were crazy, but at the start, I feel like they were, nuts. But I feel like at the start, compared to the end, it was kind of just me getting used to the league, more comfortable myself, and obviously the balls aren't going, crazy hop ride and everything like that, too.
So I know people like to use foam balls when they're training because everyone's hunting IVB on the mound and you're just getting so much ride on these heaters. Yeah. Did you feel like that was almost foam ball training for you in a game setting, to where now when you get into a more regular setting, you almost feel more prepared for fastballs with ride like that?
Yeah, I remember the first week or two, I felt like the balls were legitimately going up. But, it was good. It was a challenge, and one thing I would hear guys complain about it on other teams and even our team, and I would just be we're all in the same boat here, so let's just kind of play and just get it over with at the halfway mark. But no, for real, the balls, my eyes had to adjust for sure for the first 2 weeks.
And then when that went, when they were out of circulation, did it just become easier for you? Or did you have to also recalibrate again because stuff isn't quite moving the same way? Because guys were also getting a lot more horizontal, too, on some stuff.
Yeah, a lot of guys were, really spinning curveballs and sliders really well with the sticky balls. But I feel like when the second half kicked around, it was more sinkers. The sinkers and changeup guys played better than the ride and, curveball guys. Because at the start, the sinker guys and the changeup guys were, riding their fastball, and their changeup was, a 90-mile-an-hour two-seamer.
Yeah.
It wasn't, diving because the spin rate was so high. But it was definitely an adjustment period with that, because there was more sink and then more definite change up. So, just the game within the game.
How much do you like kind of diving into those things? Was that maybe one of the instances where you became a little bit more interested in, the pitch shapes of what opponents may have? Of course, so much information is readily available, but you also don't want to overwhelm yourself with that information, especially when, you've been producing at each stop.
Yeah.
How much do you like to look into those things, and how much of that goes into your preparation?
I'm not going to lie. I do a little scouting report on every pitcher before I go to sleep every night. We have a charting, pitch finder, what they like to throw and everything like that. So I'm pretty analytical the night before. But as soon as the game time rolls around, or the day of, I'm not really looking into it, because I already have what I have to do in mind. Yeah, I got my plan. Like I said, I try to dream on it and say, because I will have dreams of at-bats sometimes, which is nice. But the Cubs do a great job with their system, and they provide us with a bunch of information. So I really like getting into the analytical side of things, just nothing too crazy.
Have you ever had an at-bat go very similar to your dream?
I remember one time...
That'd freak me out.
I remember one time I had an at-bat where I swung and missed a fastball, then I took a changeup out and away for a strike, and it was 0-2 count, and the guy front hit me with a sinker, and like I hit double in the left center field gap because I like inside out it, and I did that one time in like the end of high A 2 years ago, but that's the only time. Yeah, that's the only time.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, visualization, I know, is something that a lot of people
100%.
Preach. And I know Michael Jordan being one of them is someone that, has definitely backed that. Something else that I've noticed this year as well is, of course, you're walking more than you ever have. I know some of that could be the ABS and the smaller zone, but you also have talked about really being focused on your plan now more than ever. Again, is it which variable is more important here, do you think?
Obviously the strike zone, I'm not gonna lie, is pretty small here. Not so small, it's the plate, I guess. But there's really no variance in like the height and like the width. So I mean, you can really hone in on your strike zone awareness. But obviously, when I go into the at bat with my approach and my plan of just sticking middle, I'm gonna take those 2-3 inch balls off the corner. But I feel like it's a play of both. But like my walk rate's always been in the higher side as well as my strikeout rate. But it's just a thing I really try to focus on is really just staying middle. Like in the last night game, that was not on my plan. Yeah. But that happens.
And you mentioned kind of just the strikeout rate and the walk rate being high. That's going to come just with getting deep into counts. And, you're able to get deep into counts pretty comfortably. And you do a lot of damage in two-strike counts when you're deep in it. So, like, is that something that you are still trying to balance? Because I have noticed this year where you've been taking some, let's say, B swings at balls and producing 108. It's like you could still produce so much power even if you're a little bit fooled. So knowing that, like, how do you balance okay, I still want to slug. Like, that's what I'm going to – at the big leagues, I'm a slugger, I'm a power hitter. But also, hey, I do want to be able to sprinkle in those singles, and especially maybe now seeing that sometimes when you're even fooled, you can produce some ridiculous EVs.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is just hit a line drive, and my natural loft and, like, backspin the ball will carry it. But I really don't try to slug. I really just try to hit the ball, see ball, hit ball, and let my swing just take over. But at the end of the day, I just want to, like I said, see ball, hit ball, and right back at the pitcher's head with the ball.
You've had a similar setup and similar moves for the most part for most of your professional career. But one thing I did notice over the last, I think maybe starting in last year, a little bit quieter with the hands and that hand load. Was that something that you did going into 2022? And how did that kind of help you just in general? I assume timing. I assume a little bit of maybe even adjustability from there. What was that process like? And, how'd you decide to kind of make that switch? Because you were still performing.
I mean, in high A, it was really, really, really big, like a lot of movement. And then over the offseason, I was like, okay, I legit have to, calm this down. Because the biggest thing that were getting me was I would be late and I would foul back fastball. But where I was crushing off speed, but those fastballs I want to hit, I wasn't. So it was really just kind of like a maturing process, and like talking with the Cubs, and they were just like, just quiet it down. And all I had to do was kind of just like keep him still and quiet. But going into the off season of 22, so going into last year, really just tried to keep him quiet and not do too much and just fire my hands. And that's really what I've kind of gone through.
Was it a lot of repetition to get there? Because I know for some people, you do something for so long, it becomes, you almost feel like you're a fish out of water, trying to do a different move and still trying to be on time and not maybe break into some other habits. Was that something that kind of still came easy for you, or did it take some time? I do know that going into 22, we did we had a quick conversation. You were kind enough to take the time in the fall league, and you had mentioned that you were spending the whole off season, or for the most part, in Arizona, working on a bunch of different things. Was that the time where you were able to get those reps in and focus on that? Yeah,
I mean, like you said, was it a hard transition? Honestly, no, because all I had to do was just tell myself to calm down and breathe and not think about my hands, and they would still have that move, like that click kind of, but it was just a lot smaller, and I wouldn't focus on it. It was just like breathe, relax, and it was really, really small. But the Cubs are honestly great. They don't tinker with my swing. They let me do my own thing because they have trust in me, and I really appreciate that. But it was just kind of like, just continue to be me and just like fine tune the things. And I know what I need to do, and they know that too. So it was just a really good offseason.
Left on left this year. It seems like more comfortable than ever. You laugh. Like, is there something that clicked for you, or is that just kind of I don't know, I'm just hitting lefties better this year?
I feel like it's the maturation process, and the Cubs' plan for me last offseason was, you need to hit lefties better. So I really honed in on that. it's just really being like getting like comfortable, more reps, because obviously you're going to see more righties than lefties. And I feel like in this league, especially, there's a lot of lefties in this league. So it's just really getting more reps and just being comfortable with getting the ball out front on lefty. It's just just being a more mature hitter, in my opinion.
What is it, for those that are listening who, have not stepped in the box against professional pitching to really understand the difference and why the splits are so dramatic for a lot of hitters, especially power guys? What is it that makes it so difficult left on left, other than the fact that the breaking balls are breaking away from you? What is it that can make it more difficult for a hitter maybe to trust their mechanics, to stay on the ball, or just to be as productive?
I know for me, it's sinkers. I really have to be careful not to chase the sinker in, because I'm either going to foul off my shin or ground into first base. So I really have to push him out, but then it's the slider breaking away. And like I said before, when you're trying to push a guy out and you don't see it that much, the sliders go out, and then you're swinging at it. But it's really just focusing middle and like finding your zone and where you want to fire. But for me, it's sinkers. Like four-seam ride guys are okay. I know Feigl struck me out yesterday, but I still felt comfortable and I felt fine with that at bat. But it's really just being stubborn and like really just staying to your zone.
Guys with like power breaking balls, and now we have a big of course, guys are looking at on how they can tunnel and just, they have the feedback and the information that you're diving into for your scouting reports. They're diving into to make themselves better pitchers. And the guy you faced last night, pretty good at that as well.
Yeah.
Someone like that where it's a power breaking ball and then that fastball that's kind of running up and away a little bit as well.
Like a fun ride,
What is an approach for you in that kind of situation? And do you feel like there's just more pitchers than ever kind of able to kind of create that tunnel? Because now, less emphasis on the changeup when you can have that down breaking ball. Have you felt like you've been seeing more of those from righties?
I feel like I saw more breaking balls, like 12-6s in AA than AAA this year. I feel like if a guy has a really good pitch here, like a slider, they stick to it here. And rather in AA, they kind of like have a plan. Like every team has a plan, like, we're going to stick to our plan here rather than the guy's plan. But, no, I feel like, I really do feel like in AAA, if the guy has a really good pitch, he's going to stick to it. And he's only going to deviate when you're like kind of on it. Yeah.
And that's a pitch that not very many people have been on all year for him, so he stuck to it pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to ask about the defense a little bit too, because the tools. It's fun to watch when you're going out there and you cut one loose. You can really throw out there. They've moved you back and forth from right and left. Naturally, most people think big arm.
Yeah,
you go in right. Is there a side of the field that you're more comfortable on, and what's the defensive progress been for you? Because, again, going back to the conversation we had before you were getting ready for AA, I know you would, if I remember correctly, you were talking about kind of speed and trying to be a little bit quicker and just move better. And I think that's more than evident that you're able to do that out there. Yeah. How's that progression been for you?
It's been good. My speed progression has been very, very good. We wear these like catapult things, these like GPSs, and I'm like top in the org on speed and everything like that. But really, just in the outfield, I'm really working on my brakes and my first step. We called tear up 10. Like the first 10 steps of the route, you got to like really get after it, because that's really what matters. Try to beat the ball to the spot. Like last night, I had a ball go in my glove and then dunk out on the wall. But it's really just been I'm getting older. I'm learning more stuff, the wind, everything like that, because as a kid, I didn't get many reps. But now I'm learning. And, just like watching, like when I was playing with Pete, UCA, he's the best outfielder I've ever played with. So I really just try to like pick his mind and just try to really watch what he does and try to like emulate the actions he does. Obviously, it's kind of hard to do, but really just watch and learn and try to just ask guys questions.
We had Pete on the show, and we pulled some of the video, and he said, like, walk us through this. And you realize, I think
he's gifted. It's God-given,
But people don't, I think, realize how much goes into the mental side of defending as well. How much are you looking at, like, swings, being that, you're a smart hitter too, and love to study what goes into that. So obviously, a lot about, you probably see a swing and say, oh, he was this or that. You pulled off it, what that could maybe mean to how the ball is going to fly towards you. How much are you looking at that, or how much is more just trusting the scouting reports, or do you have a little bit of your own feel for it now when you're looking at hitters and seeing maybe how that ball may fly off of his bat? I'm
definitely more of a feel outfielder rather than a scouting report. I'll like stay in the area of the scouting report, but like if he's laying a fastball, I'm gonna move a step over. Like, or if he's, really getting a head out, maybe I'll play lower. It depends on the pitcher too. The wind also. Like, Frazier yesterday, he's really hitting balls. So, I I forget who was pitching. I think it was Kyle. And I moved like 3 steps in the gap, and he hit one in the gap, and boom, I was there, and I caught it. So it's just, those little tinkering things you got to do. But it's really just like playing. And also a really annoying thing is when guys use all black bats at night because you can't see the swing path. So when a guy uses like a unfinished or like a unfinished barrel, you can really see the swing plane. So that's also another thing too.
So it really is helpful feedback to see that swing plane.
It is for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I want to go baក់to the speed thing real quick because I know Cubs fans, as you can tell, like they're really excited about everything when it comes to prospects. I think they're as tapped in as anybody, and they want to see. They already want to see Moises up. They want to see you up. They want to see everybody. But the speed thing will probably get them very excited just because, again, I don't think people realize a lot of times the big power hitters, a lot of times they overlook the athleticism. How have you you mentioned it in the field, like trying to convert that speed into, more game speed.
Yep.
On the base paths, once you get going, you can see it.
Yeah.
But, I remember you also mentioning, I want to steal some more bags. You've done that a little bit this year.
I got 5 so far, yeah.
Are you more focused on just like, when I'm underway, I know I'm an asset on the base paths, or do you still want to try to have that be a part of your game?
I still want it to be part of my game. I have 5 right now, and I'm not gonna say what I try and do every week because I know maybe some of the guys will listen to it, but I really just try to pick my times, pick and choose right, and just really get the right jumps because, just pick on little things like if a pitcher shakes twice, boom, boom, he wants to throw a certain pitch, and I'm gonna go. He's not gonna pick off after shaking twice. Yeah. Or just really picking up on the timing of things because the pitchers do fall into habits. But I really try to add to my game, and I'm still learning. In spring training, I was just really listening to the base stealers and how they do things, like what I picked up on the 2-shake thing. I've never heard of that before, but that's pretty good information. Yeah,
that's awesome. Just a couple more quick ones for you. We got some guys on our Just Baseball staff. Yeah. An abnormal amount of Canadians, actually.
Really?
So anytime we have anything out on any prospect player that's from Canada, they're all pumped up. I think we have an abnormal amount of Canada baseball coverage, to be honest. The Nailers get a lot of run oversight.
Oh, yeah.
But what I have noticed, and it might, again, just be because we have so many writers now from Canada, it seems like the baseball, it just continues to grow there and take off in the talent. Every time I do my draft prep, I just see more prospects from there. And I felt like, your year and kind of even going back to the Nailers, it started there, but it's really started to take off. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because I know it's got to be interesting just for you to monitor and see the way that baseball continues to grow there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was coming up, it was kind of just me by myself, training, everything like that. But every time I go back, there's more and more resources for the kids, which I really enjoy seeing. This offseason I was just in, I went down with my academy, the Phyllis Pirates, and I coached with them. We went down all the JUCOs and everything like that for the fall trip. So it was good, but it's really nice just seeing all the kids, how much talent there actually is. Because I don't think people realize there's actually really good players in Canada. It's just they don't get seen a lot, and then they have to go difficult routes. But they'll get there. But I mean, it's just really getting better, and I'm happy to see that Baseball Canada is giving back.
The WBC was a good reminder of the talent out there too, and that seemed to be a lot of fun for you too.
Yeah.
Are you excited to do that again next time around? Is that something that you think you'll be doing pretty much every time you get the opportunity?
Yeah, I'll do it until I can't, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
How fun was that?
So far, it's the best experience I've had playing baseball.
Wow.
Easily, yeah.
I mean, we were there, and just I mean the level of care and passion from the players, but from the fans, the environment, the atmosphere. I think it couldn't have been more of a success.
Yeah.
You mentioned so far. Of course, I can think of what the other thing would be that would beat that. Of course, that's the obvious goal this year. But, just as you continue to roll forward, what are some of the things that you are focused on specifically that would make this a successful season outside of the obvious?
Things that would make it a successful season would be just sticking to my plan and being myself. And I don't care if I debut this year or in 5 years. I really just want to be the best player I can be every day. When I lay my head in the pillow at night, I ask myself, did I do everything I could today to be the best I can? And if I say yes to that, then there's nothing I can complain about. So that's really well.
It's great mentality. And then speaking of mentality, last question is, how do you unplug? Because this sport is a mental tax all the time. It is rough. It is difficult. And everybody has their own methods. Of course, you're still diving into the game in the evening, but I'd imagine there's a buffer zone at some point where you're doing something else. You're trying to get away from it. What is that for you?
I play a lot of video games. I play Apex, play Call of Duty, MLB.
You tried out X Defiant yet?
No, is it good?
New game.
Okay.
Free.
Oh, it's free?
Free.
Okay, I'll download it. But I watch a lot of movies too. Talk to my girlfriend. She's great. Really just lets me get away. But I'm a baseball nut.
Yeah.
And I just love watching baseball. So I guess like my chilling time would be like watching baseball.
Yeah.
And kind of just like taking away from myself and just like watching because I am a fan of the game. So it's just really something I think I'll never get away from, which I don't mind because when I'm watching baseball, I don't think about what I'm doing. So I really enjoy it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
spurred one more for me.
Yeah,
Because you have a unique swing.
Yeah.
Who do you like to watch swing?
I remember in high school, I was like, oh, I like to watch this, and that. But honestly, now, myself. Like, if I have a good swing, I'll go back into the game report and watch it a couple of times, see what I did. But I don't really watch anyone. You know, I follow baseball accounts and I think just to see how good hitters move and everything like that. And I really just try to be myself in my swing and the feels of it, I guess.
Has there been anyone like in those swing accounts or clips? Like, I got a couple of buddies and that we'll just kind of shoot back and forth to, and players too that like to probably look at themselves more, but they'll shoot me a video and be like, look at this freak swing. Has there been anybody in the bigs or maybe that you've seen with a clip or a game that you're watching and you just like, wow, you can really appreciate it? Like for me right now, Royce Lewis, every time he takes a swing, I'm like, holy crap, what is
crazy. Sean Green.
That was a great.
Yeah, I like Sean Green. I like Sean Green a lot. It's kind of just like simple, tall, lanky-ish, lefty. So I kind of like that one a lot. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for the time, dude. Really appreciate it. Best of luck with the rest of the season, and pumped to see you. You said 5 years. I venture to say it'll be a lot sooner than that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that day.
Yeah, thank you very much.